Alrighty, my name is Natalie Garcia, and we have reached the last question of the Excel practice for the final exam review, QMB 3200, spring semester 2023, Gladys Simpson, best class I'm in. I've said it in a few of these other videos. I had an issue trying to get the recordings done, so I did the work so that I would have something, and then I figured out how to do the recording, so I'm doing them now. Pardon that there's already answers there. I'm going to go over exactly how I got to every one of my results and how I was able to calculate everything. For the purpose of question 10, which is to develop a multiple linear regression model to predict quarterly sales using gender, annual income, and site visits as independent variables, and then set a dummy variable for gender and code male to equal 0 and female to equal 1. Include the regression output in the sheet, set output range to cell C34. I believe that I did not set it to C34. Wow, very bad at this. I'm going to go ahead and, I set it to A34. Wow. I'm going to go ahead and set it to the correct cell. So C34 is going to be here. We're going to paste it there. And now everything is in the right spot as per the problem. So when creating a dummy variable, I'm going to show you how to do that because that's the main part of this problem and this question. You're going to copy and paste this cell. Then you're going to go to the question you're at. I've already done this for genders, but this is just going to be like an additional one so I can show you how I did it. Because the rest of it is just literally copying, pasting quarterly sales, site visits, and annual income. But because we were doing the dummy variable, I did have to make an edit to the gender. I'm going to move my face so I can see what I'm doing. Everything is already selected. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to home and find and select and replace, not F0, it's going to be female with 1 in the sheet by columns, and we're just going to replace everything there. There was 30 females and all 30 have been replaced. Now that we've done that, it's time to replace male in that same selection with 0 sheet within the sheet by the columns, and you're going to replace all. And now the other 45 of the 75 things have been replaced, and this column now matches the column that I had to use for the regression model. So now that that's there, we can just get rid of it. We don't need that anymore. And now it's just to create the regression model. So to do the regression for the multiple linear regression, it's going to be like the same as the other regressions that we've been doing, or that I've been doing and doing on this video. So you're going to select regression, you're going to click OK, get rid of all this so that I can start new. I don't know what's there right now. Things that I don't need. So the input Y is always, as far as we've been doing this, it's been quarterly sales is Y. So let's select everything for the Y range, and the X range is going to be the annual income to the site visits with the gender in the middle. All 3 are going to be considered independent variables for the purpose of this exercise, and we're going to have it pop up on a new worksheet. Worksheet 13 has the same exact summary output as what's going to be on 10, because that's just the way to get the appropriate regression model. When you are looking for the regression equation, like in previous questions, it's going to be quarterly sales, since that is a dependent variable, is equal to coefficient times the independent variable plus coefficient times independent variable plus coefficient times independent variable plus the intercept. In this case, there's 3 independent variables: annual income, site visits, and gender, which is a dummy variable. So we're going to have everything there accordingly. For the intercept of the equation, the intercept is noted on the coefficients as the intercept in the regression model. So we went ahead, it's just about clicking equal, making it equal to that. Coefficient for gender, again, it's listed in the coefficients list. Gender, that's the one that you're going to put equals that. Regression coefficient for annual income, same thing, equals this. And then for site visits, it's going to be the same thing, equals directly from the regression model. For the error of the regression, standard error is one of the summary outputs of the regression model. So it's, again, just plugging it in, equals standard error. Aside from the standard error, there is the proportion of variability in quarterly sales. To know what that is, you have to understand that R squared represents that proportion. So you're going to mark equals R squared and you'll get the right answer. Then for the F statistic, the F statistic is just a direct plug from what was already produced by the ANOVA and by the regression output that included the ANOVA. For the predicted quarterly sales, that's just about plugging in the value for in your regression equation. In this case, it would be the first one is going to be male customer. So male is 0, right? Because that's how we replaced it. So technically the entire gender portion is going to be canceled out because its own male is equal to 0. So you're just going to be doing annual income times the coefficient, which you just plug directly here. So it's going to be equal annual income times, so it's going to be equal the coefficient times whatever annual income they give you, plus the coefficient for site visits times whatever site visits, plus the intercept. And because gender is equal to 0, because male is 0, 0 times any other number 0, that's what you're going to get. You're going to get 11,158 with 98 cents. About that, since they want the residual for the customer, you're going to be subtracting 11,612 from that previous result, and you're going to get a residual of $453 and about 10 cents. About 10 cents. So for predicted quarterly sales for female, that's entirely different. So it's essentially going to be this number from before, but we're going to add in the gender coefficient, which we skipped because the female coefficient is 1. So gender times anything times 1 is it. So we're just going to add whatever the coefficient is. In this case, would be adding 127.78267. So we just go this plus that coefficient is going to get us to 11,286 plus 0.692. And then the residual is the same thing. It's just the residual value that they provide, or the value that the actual value they provide minus the expected due to the regression equation. It's going to give you a residual. For p-values, all of them are listed there. It says gender, annual income, site visits. That's exactly how it is here. Gender, annual income, site visits. We're just going to equal them to the p-values, and it's about concluding from them based off of what p-value is. Since the significance level for this is a 10% significance level, at 0.91 for gender, gender is not significant because it is greater than the 0.1. This annual income, the p-value is 0.0000. It is a significant predictor. The p-value is way below 10% for significance value while we're here. And then for the site visits, it's at 0.23. So it is again not a significant predictor of quarterly income because of the p-value. And that's just how you would read that. So we've done all the questions for 10, answered all the highlighters to the regression, did the dummy variable and showed you how to do it and replace it. So that's it. And then when you look at answers, now that we finished all the questions and that I've done the videos for all of them, we were able to get our values to match what they were supposed to, thankfully, through the work that we did. So that's good. Thank you. Have a good rest of your day or night or whenever it is that you watch this. Bye.